Hello there. Today is Tuesday, November 18, 2025. And I know today we're digging into the archives for a trending paper. That's all about making our AI models way smarter with long texts. It's a really cool one, so let's get into it. The title is Optimizing Mixture of Block Attention. It's an outside 2511.11579. It's long. Okay, so let's set the scene. You have these incredible large language models, right? They can write stories, answer questions, understand code. But they have a secret weakness, a kind of Achilles heel, when you give them something really round to read. Like a whole book, a legal contract, or hours of video footage, they start to struggle. And by struggle, I mean they become incredibly slow and expensive to run. This is because of a core component called the self-attention mechanism. Think of it like this: for every single word in the text, the model has to compare it to every other single word. If you have a 100-word sentence, that's not too bad. But if you have a 100,000-word document, the number of comparisons just explodes. It's what we call reliably complexity, and it's a huge bond. So, researchers have been trying to find a way around this. And one of the most promising ideas is something called sparse attention. Instead of looking at everything, the model learns to focus, or sparsely attend only to the most important parts. This paper focuses on a specific type of sparse attention, called mixture of block attention, or MoBA for short. MoBA is clever. It chops up the long text into smaller, manageable chunks. Then, for any given query or question the model is thinking about, the special part called a router quickly scans these blocks and picks out just a handful of the most relevant ones. The model then only pays attention to the words inside those selected blocks. It's like skimming a textbook for the right chapter. Instead of reading the entire thing from cover to cover, it's way more efficient. In the paper calls it the needle in a haystack problem. How does this router reliably find the few correct blocks and at potentially thousands of candidates? If it messes up and picks the wrong blocks, the model's answer will be garbage. And even if it works, how do we make this process super fast on the actual hardware? On the guts that power everything. This is where the researchers really roll up their sleeves. First, they created a statistical model to figure out what makes MoBA tick. They wanted to understand the math behind why the router succeeds or fails, and they came up with this really elegant formula that revolves around something called the signal-to-noise ratio, or SNR. Basically, the mass signal is the correct, relevant block the router needs to find. The noise is all the other irrelevant blocks. A higher SNR means the router can easily tell the signal from the noise. The analysis found that the SNR depends on a simple ratio, a head dimension, which we can call ED divided by the block size. SNR is proportional to the square root of D over B. This one little insight gives us two clear ways to make MoBA better. First, you can decrease the block size B. Making the blocks smaller makes it much easier for the model to find a signal. It's like looking for a specific quote in a single paragraph, instead of searching for it in a 50-page chapter. The signal is less likely to get drowned out by noise. Second, you can do something to cluster related information together inside a block. The paper suggests applying a short convolution to the keys. This is a bit technical, but you can think of it as a pre-processing step that encourages semi-intimately related words and ideas to group together. This makes the signal within a block stronger and more obvious, which boosts the SNR even more, so that these clear, smaller blocks are better. But here comes the reality check. The chips that run these models are not a fan of small, scattered tasks. They love big, dense, predictable chunks of work. Trying to make them process tiny, sparse blocks is super inefficient. So inefficient, in fact, that it can make MoBA slower than the original brute force, dense attention method it was trying to replace. This is the classic gap between theory and practice. But to bridge this gap, the researchers built something they call Flash MoBA. Flash MoBA is a custom-written, hardware-aware kernel. It's a piece of low-level code that tells the CLI exactly how to handle these small, sparse blocks in the most efficient way possible. He uses a clever strategy called quadratic density. It gathers up all the little, non-contiguous bits of data it needs from memory and packs them together into a dense, neat block right on the chip's superfastest RAM. Then the crew can just crunch through this dense block at maximum speed. This reminds me of the time I tried to find my keys by averaging the location of all the objects in my house. My keys were not in fact inside the toaster. You can't just average things and hope for the best. You need to be smart about it. And the results are just, well. With these improvements, the optimized MoBA models didn't just get faster. They actually matched, and in some cases, even beat, the performance of the original dense attention models. This is huge. It shows that by being smarter and more focused, a sparse model can outperform one that just looks at everything. The paper suggests that as sequences get longer, dense attention lets dilute its focus spread too thin. MoBA, by concentrating on a few key blocks, avoids this problem entirely. And the speed up is incredible. Flash MoBA was up to 14.7 times faster than Flash Attention 2, which is already a scoop-optimized version of dense attention. It also used way less memory. So, let's talk about what this means for us in the real world. I can think of at least 3 areas where this technology could be a game changer. First, information extraction and text summarization. Imagine you're a lawyer who needs a summary of a 1,000-page case file, or a doctor trying to get the gist of 50 new medical studies. With Flash MoBA, an AI could instantly find and focus on the most critical sections, pick key arguments and data points, and generate a high-quality summary in seconds, not hours. Second, bit-bytes and dialogue systems. Have you ever had a long chat with a customer service bot, and it forgets what you talked about 5 minutes ago? That's often because it can't handle long conversation histories efficiently. This technology would allow a bot to maintain a perfect memory of a very long conversation by intelligently retrieving relevant past messages, leading to much more coherent and helpful interactions. And third, machine translation. When translating a novel, the context for a character's nickname or a recurring theme might have been established hundreds of pages earlier. A standard model might miss this, leading to an inconsistent translation. MoBA could allow the model to instantly refer back to those key defining moments, no matter how far back they are in the text, ensuring the translation is accurate and maintains the author's original intent. When we compare this to other technologies, its advantages are clear. Compared to standard dense attention, it's not just faster and cheaper, but it can actually be better for long context tasks because it avoids attention dilution. And compared to other sparse methods that use fixed patterns, like looking at a sliding window of text, MoBA is more flexible because its ruler learns which blocks are important dynamically, but adapts to protect itself, which is a much more powerful approach. So to wrap it all up, this paper is a fantastic piece of work. It starts with a deep theoretical analysis to understand a problem, uses these insights to propose concrete architectural improvements, and then builds the hard-performing, custom hardware code to make it all practical. It's a full-stack solution that shows how we can scale our AI models to handle contexts of millions or even billions of tokens, pushing past the limits of what we thought was possible. Really fascinating stuff. That's all for today. See you next time.